In a recent update to the Custom Metadata Panel, we introduced the ability to read and write metadata from AEM. Now, a lot of this metadata, and I've got a linked asset here inside of InDesign. This is an Illustrator document that's stored in AEM. I know that because the selected link is telling me it's in AEM, so I know that. And I could also see it here in Adobe Asset Link. Here it is, and it's a checked out asset from Adobe Asset Link. So although we have all the signals that this is from AEM, I can read and write metadata from AEM, and these are normal kinds of fields, like what's the description? Oh, there's some alt text description right there. What are the keywords? What's my image rating on this thing? Way down here I have what's the name of the organization that's featured. Okay, that's great. But what if I wanted to do something that's AEM specific that you don't normally see in XMP, such as AEM Tags? If we flip over here to AEM, you can see in this particular, here's the AEM details page, the properties page for this particular document. And you can see field label here. This is tags. And this has two tags on it. It has in the sports category namespace, team sports, and it has asset properties orientation square. All right, that's great. But what are all of these tags? Well, your instance of AEM will have a different set of tags. But if I click on here, you can see all the different namespaces that are available. And if I click on sports, for instance, I can see I have a couple of things in here in sports. If I go to sports category, I can see things inside of sports category. If I go to team sports, here's some more. Probably need to add robotics. Anyway, the point is that you've got an awful lot of flexibility in terms of creating these tags in AEM, but they're invisible to the creative because there's just no way to see them in creative applications like Photoshop or InDesign or Illustrator or Bridge even. And the custom metadata panel allows you to see them. So let's go back over there and see how we can add and configure tags, AEM tags. We'll go to Preferences, and this is where we edit our views, our tabs. I could create a new tab with tab management, but I actually have a view called AEM Fields. This is the tab that's way over on the right, and we'll look at this again later. I want to edit that one. So I'll crack it open. I want to add a new property, add metadata. And here I can pick what do I want it to show. In this case, I'm going to go all the way to the top. You'll see AEM Tags. If I pick that, it automatically sets the XMP prefix, the XMP namespace, and the property. Well, why do we use these? This is because this is how it gets stored in AEM, and when we're doing that reading and writing from AEM, we want the tags to end up in the right place. Let's give this a name. All right, we'll change that in a little bit. Okay, let's go down to Options. And I'd like to now configure which of the namespaces I want to show. As we saw in AEM, we'll go back over there just as a reminder, as we saw in AEM, there were an awful lot of namespaces here. Okay, so there's lots and lots. And I don't want all of them to be there all the time. They're also called field labels. So that's why I said we're going to come back to it. So what I want to do is limit it to asset properties and sports category. Those are the only two things I want my users to pick when they're on the creative side. So what I can do is to load from AEM. This is now going to automatically pick the AEM instance based on what I've logged into in Asset Link. Now it's going to show me all of the namespaces that are available. So if I scroll down here, I can see sports category. We'll pick that one. And then we'll pick asset properties. And why don't we also pick standard tags? We'll grab that one. Oh, there's nothing in there. That's not very exciting. Well, anyway, we've got that. And then how about apparel? We'll pick that one too. Now that we have made these choices, I can load them. It's going to automatically configure the JSON to build the menus that we'll see inside of the custom metadata panel. And then we'll say save. So this is done. We'll save it again. Oh, wait, we had one more thing we needed to do, right? We needed to change this to field label. Now it will match what's in AEM. So we'll save this and close this window and then done, and that's going to reload. So now if I switch over to AEM Fields, you'll see, aha, here's field label, and it has sports category, team sports already selected, and properties orientation square. This is coming from AEM. So let's go and add something else here. So under category apparel, let's pick outerwear, just to show that we've made a change. And then we'll say OK, and we'll commit the change. So now this has been written back to AEM from InDesign for a linked document that has been placed into InDesign from AEM. Yikes. Let's go back over to AEM and see if anything changed. If I refresh and I let it load again, and you can see now outerwear is a tag that is attached to this asset. So if you use tags in your workflow and you want to be able to view applied tags and you want to be able to edit applied tags, then you can use the custom metadata panel to do that directly inside of InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and Bridge.